The next thing is to have lots of citations across the internet. Anybody can claim a Google My Business listing, and that's your placeholder on Google Maps. So if you're a home improvement or remodeling company in any market, there are literally hundreds of other improvement or remodeling companies usually trying to compete or trying to rank against you. So having a properly claimed and optimized Google My Business listing just put you on a list of one of 100 or more competitors. The thing that's going to move you in ranking from 100 to page 1 of the results, and ideally to get you in the 3-pack, which should be your goal, is your authority. Authority is driven by how many times does Google see your company's name, address, and phone number referenced across the web, and by how many online reviews that you have for your company as well. Those two things are the biggest authority factors that Google looks at. They're also going to look at your website to see how authoritative your website is. So it's critical that you're listed with a lot of online directory sites, and it's critical that you're listed with consistency, that you're listed the same way, because if Google sees you on the maps and the internet spiders that crawl the internet say, where else is Ralph's Remodeling listed? And you're maybe listed on Yelp, on Angie's List, on City Search, but your phone number is different than it was on Google Maps. Well, that's kind of diluting your authority, and Google is not sure then what listing is yours and which ones may be wrong or maybe another company. So that's why NAP consistency is so important. And you want to make sure that you limit any duplicate information. If you have your company somehow accidentally listed twice on Google Maps, that can also dilute your authority as well as get you penalized by Google. So you want to have a lot of citations with the right name, address, and phone number, just like it is on Google Maps. And then you want to limit the inconsistency and the duplication of information. One of the key sticking points that I see with this is that people say, okay, I know there's a lot of citations, sites that I can go to, and a lot of them you can go claim those manually yourself. So companies will go and they'll add themselves to Best of the Web, and they'll add themselves to Yelp, and they'll add themselves to Angie's List, and then they'll find something wrong on a site like superpages.com, for instance, and then they'll say, oh man, that's not right. I have the wrong phone number in there, or my company name is listed wrong. And so they'll hit edit, and they'll modify the info, they'll hit save, and then they'll go back in a week later and it's listed as incorrect again, and they'll say, man, what's going on here? So what they're really missing is the big data aggregators. You want to make sure you pay attention to the data aggregators, which are Factual, Acxiom, InfoUSA, and Neustar. These are the companies that hold the business information for basically the entire industry. What's listed in those sites gets propagated then to other secondary and third level citation sites. So if you go to a site like Manta or HotFrog, let's just say, and you update your listing, or maybe you even deleted a duplicate listing, but it's still listed on one of these 4 data aggregators, that data aggregator is probably going to wind up popping up again with the wrong information on a variety of other sites. So you want to make sure that you get your main listings right, but then you also have to pay attention to these bigger data aggregators. When it comes to citation management, there's an easy way and there's a hard way. The hard way is to get an entire list of citations and then go to this list of websites and manually create your account, manually enter your information, and then you'll have a spreadsheet where all that stuff gets listed somewhere. So that's a way to do it, and that's fine if you have the time. There's also tools that help you automate this process and make your life much easier. Some of the tools that are really popular in the local SEO industry are Bright Local, Whitespark, Advice Local, Moz Local, and Yext. You've probably heard a couple of these, or maybe you haven't. They're useful for different things. I will say that Bright Local and Whitespark are ones that a lot of agencies are using, and those tools are great for finding inconsistency in your listings. You can put in your company's name, address, and phone number and press a button and see where you're listed incorrectly or where you're not listed at all on other various citation sources. Advice Local, Moz Local, and Yext are all integrative tools that you can update your information in one place and have it update all across the web. Now, Moz Local is good, Advice Local is good. And then there's Yext. Yext is the most connected data provider with all the major online directories. And the benefit of Yext is that it has a direct feed into Google, into Yelp, into Bing, into the top 50 or so online directories. What you can do is Yext is make an update and have it update all across the board, have it update other directories immediately, and find and suppress duplicate listings as well. But I'm not advocating for you to sign up for Yext because as an end user, Yext is very expensive. As an agency or a company like ours, Yext is quite affordable. So I highly recommend Moz Local or Advice Local or Yext as kind of your primary hub for managing your online directories and citation sources. Now, when we run a citation analysis report, it usually looks something like this. It lets you know what listings you're on, how many are correct, also shows you all the inconsistencies that your various listings may contain. So if you need help with that or just want to see where you stand in terms of your consistency and overall presence all across the web, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'd be happy to help you with this analysis and at least just get you pointed in the right direction. So here are my best practices for you. These strategies are the core of how to manage your directories, which all feed your Google My Business listing, which we showed earlier at google.com/business. From there, you'll use a tool like Yext to hit the top 50 online directories, and that's also almost the only way to get on Yahoo. It immediately gets you on the Bing as well with the correct map information. The ability to make a change once and hit all the directories, the ability to put out a special promotion and have it hit all the directories, the ability to upload a photo in one place and have it go everywhere, that's the benefit of Yext. So that's the real advantage of using Yext and the ability to suppress those duplicate listings. Duplicate listings can really hurt you in terms of how you rank on Google Maps. With Yext, it finds the duplicate listing, suppresses it, and all of a sudden you're in a completely different place with your online authority. This is the fast track to get your directory listings under control and to move yourself up in terms of your rankings on Google Maps. From there, you still want to get your listings updated on the data aggregators, and those are InfoUSA and Axiom. These are the two most important ones, as well as Neustar. From there, you're just controlling how you're showing up on different directories and on how these third and fourth level directory services are pulling in your information. As long as your main listing on Google, Yelp, and others are accurate, and you're managing all of your directories for accuracy, then that information and accuracy will get carried over to all these other third and fourth level directories, many of which you will never have heard of. And then from there, usually that's going to be enough authority from a citation management perspective to move to a very strong position in Google Maps. But in a lot of cases, it's not enough because there are a lot of companies that are already doing this and you need to be doing more than them. So you want to use a tool like BrightLocal or WhiteSpark to find new specific directories that you can add yourself to. Again, I like to focus on the 80-20 rule in this particular aspect of Google Maps. Quantity has proven to be less important than quality when it comes to citation sources. Quality is those top 50 or so citations, and that's usually enough to make you really authoritative, but then there's going to be secondary services that you can be listed on as well. If you search a remodeling directory, or if you search a roofing company directory, say you search for best roofing company in your area. You look for these other directory sites that list organizations like yours, and you get yourself added to that directory as well. That's going to give more authority to your name, address, and phone number, which will improve your probability of ranking on maps or even ranking on these local area directories. For example, if you're in a Tampa business directory, best businesses of Tampa, for instance, you can get yourself added to these types of directories after doing the primary work. That's really how you can kind of move the needle in terms of your citations and your overall web presence. I have a list of the most authoritative niche specific directories that you can get yourself added to. This list comes directly from Bright Local, so it's not my specific list that we built here at Home Remodeler SEO. But there's also other lead services like Networks, which is a pay-per-lead service. There's Contractors.com. There's BuildZoom. There's BuilderSect, which is a free directory. HomeBlue, CraftJack, and many other directories that you can get yourself listed on. If you want to access to this list, you would go to www.homeremodelerseo.com/citations. What I would say is that you don't want to start here, though. You don't want to start with these secondary citation services. You want to start with your Google My Business listing, and then you go to the main 50 directories, and then you start to look at these other tier 2 and tier 3 directories in order to move the needle. And then once you have the 80% done, then you start to look at that last lap, or that 20%. What I've really found is that when you get this really tightened up, and again, you have a real location, you have a real office in the city that you're trying to rank in, and you do this stuff correctly and in combination with what we're going to talk about next, you can really rank well on Google Maps in your market.